All right, made it, Hardtails for Dummies. This one we're gonna go over a fun one. We got a pretty extensive one, so stay tuned. So this is something that helped me a long time ago with just painting certain things, mainly automotive, but applies to whatever you got on your bike that you want to paint, basically. But it starts out with the old whiteboard. I'm gonna try to explain down to the old molecular level, I guess, of painting. So here's your surface that you're trying to paint on. No steel surface is really that perfect. If you're painting stuff like that, you're really lucky. But if you're getting parts, mainly tanks, there's all kinds of scratches, gouges, dents, whatever. And even if you don't see those, there's still a lot of little inconsistencies throughout the metal. You can sand the heck out of that. You can save yourself a lot of headache if you just learn how to paint over that. The bigger it is, you can hit it with Bondo. If you got big old thing, you can obviously just fill it with Bondo and sand that down to match this surface. But how I like to explain painting is paint coming out of the gun or a can doesn't come out in a solid form. It comes out in paint droplets. So once it comes out of the can, it's not a solid surface. It's just a bunch of paint droplets coming out. Think of like a shotgun. How that applies to your surface is, I like to paint a bunch of light coats. So think of it as you're putting those little paint droplets on the surface like this. That's your first coat. That's why you can't really cover it if you go light. You still see all the bare metal. And then you do another one. But you see how it's getting pretty solid with paint. And then you hit another one. And now you're pretty much covered. I would almost say 3 coats and you're covered. So now you got not such a jagged surface, but you got it filled in pretty good. So then you do your extra little coat. So now you got a really good surface. So now you got primer. And all these droplets, if you let them cure, that turns into a solid surface. And then that solid surface you can sand down. And that's pretty much your primer. If you do have a really rough surface and you're sanding it, you'll hit that little high spot. And that'll tell you to put another coat over it. You let it cure. Give that a light sand, and voila, you're over it. And then you have a nice plain surface. So that surface you can paint on. That's your prep stage. Whoa, so I know that was a little bit too much overthinking, but that helped me when I was painting. The first time I ever painted a tank, it went really good because I thought of it as little droplets instead of just like trying to cover it. And then I'd have drips, and I'd sand those, and then it'd be bare metal again. And then I'd, just kept sanding over things that kept screwing up. But if I just kept it light, spraying light coats all over my bike, the whole time I was just being really thin with everything. The thin eventually cakes up to like a big thick layer. And then once you get to that nice, thin, smooth, put your flames on, your graphics, whatever, your whole tank pretty much done, then you could just bury it in clear. I always do go heavy on the clear, and then the clear you can sand. And then you can put another big heavy thing of clear on it and sand that a little bit, and then really polish that out. That's the way to do it. That's the money shot. You don't have to go heavy on the color. Color can be very thin and it'll pop right out with the clear. So saying that, I got my tank here, and I want to show you what I'm going to do before I go to the next step, which is I'm going to Bondo a bunch of stuff. So I don't know if you can see this, but on this tank you can see there's this big roller mark. There's little dings. Here's some pretty good ones, just from moving around. You know, no one's fault really. I dropped it, so I did that little bad boy. That's pretty cool. On the top, anywhere there's weld marks, there's little bung welds everywhere. A lot of these tanks, they'll have these stretch marks going down. My last tank, these were really deep, and I had to fill them in. This one's actually, it looks worse than it is. In person, I can't even feel it. So saying that paint or primer will just go right over that. So what I do is I Bondo this kind of stuff. Once you're done and you have this Bondoed, it's gonna look super good. People probably don't even notice it, but I do. This one's actually not that bad. You could bury it in paint, but it would still kind of have like a little roller to it. If you just put a little finger smear, a couple of them, sand it down, it'll look 200% better. And then people who actually paint and like choppers are gonna notice that you put that time in. All right, so let's Bondo this bad boy. When it comes from lowbrow, for example, it comes with a cap, a plastic one that comes in there. I like to use Dixie cup, like McDonald's type cup, fast food cup. If you can get a small one that fits in there, the bottom end, you can cut it in half and just stick it in there and leave it in there until you're done. Those are perfect. They got like a waxy coating. They're just perfect for painting on there. It doesn't stick to the paint and all that. This side, you can put a bolt in there, but don't put it all the way against this surface, because I try to paint as much as I can. So I got this broken fuel thing, and I'll be able to paint a lot around that. Other than that, everything else should be good. Also, you should try to air pressure test these things, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna let it leak like a sieve and then cry about it later. So first thing I wanna do is clean it. What I like to do is get acetone and put this thing over here, get some gloves. You're gonna need a lot of gloves, so just buy a box. Your acetone. At first I'll use these, just on the steel though. What I'm trying to do is just get the grease off. Whatever debris on there, rust. Every tank's a little different. See, there's a little bit of grease on there. Prep is everything. So don't be stingy. Acetone also dries really fast. And then once you get that thing really clean, I noticed there was metal or whatever stuck to it, grinded that off. There's more right here. It's like slag or something. The paper towel, the blue ones or whatever you use, usually gets kind of stuck in there, so I'll go over it with this bad boy. You can hear it kind of ripping. That should get whatever's sticking to it off. And there's no dirt on there, so that's great. Really just want to get your fingerprints. I mean, even fingerprints are bad. You definitely don't want fingerprints on your tank. So after you let this thing dry, which is super quick, and it's all prepped up, I get the body repair kit. This is what I get. I bought this, I don't know how long ago, a couple years ago, and I barely use it, and it goes a long ways. And it comes with the hardener. It's looking good. Definitely take a nice whiff, get you in the mood. I get a crappy piece of cardboard. Usually get a couple of them, and some sort of flimsy card, credit card, steal your mom's card, your girlfriend's, whatever. I do a little bit at a time. I try to just do one spot, let it dry, mix up some more stuff, and I just keep going at it, but I don't make a giant thing of it at once. And then the hardener, really don't use that much of this. But then you just take your card and you just fold it in. And since the hardener's blue, it'll change this whole thing into a different color. Keep doing this till you don't see blue. And you're on a time limit, because this stuff hardens pretty quick. So don't screw around. That's why I do a little bit at a time. I don't do a big batch because you'll just make a mess. So the first thing I want to work on is this really cool dent I made. So what I do is I get this bad boy loaded up, which is way too loaded, and I just kind of push it in there, and I'll put a big old glob on there. You're not trying to make it perfect. The sander will do that. Kind of spread it around so you have something to sand. All right, that's probably way too much. The other thing is, since I made so much, I'll get the top of this. This is the hardest part to do. Got the gloves off. This hardened up really fast. I mean, look how it's stuck to everything already. But look how much I got left over. All right, so you can notice how sloppy it is. It's hardening right now, but 20 minutes from now, probably hit it with some sand, see what it does. It started to really harden up, so it's really chunky. This is the front, so I don't really care. I try to hit all the spots that people are gonna see. The top, the corners where you dinged it. Yeah, so it looks like total ass. But now it's the waiting game. Let's dry for like an hour. What I do is I use 150 grit or something pretty coarse. They say to use like 80 or 60. And I got this sanding sponge, but I put sandpaper around it. But I use this the whole time. Instead of just using your finger and gouging into it, this is more surface area. Keeps you from getting too crazy. So what I try to do is all the splotches that I made a mess on, I just hit those first, just to test it. And you're gonna want to get this bad boy to wipe it off. And you just go to town. Just sand a little bit, don't sand too much, and just keep checking on it. See, right away I already got a bunch of pitting. Alright, after sanding for 30-40 minutes, using basically one sheet of paper, I got most of it sanded down pretty good. It's pretty smooth, and as you can tell, it's one thing. I usually try to sand until you see the weld marks, basically. And then this front dent I put in it, it's covered, and the tab welds are good. This is the hardest part. Takes the longest. I'm probably gonna hit it a little bit more. I'm gonna mix up a little bit more, put in some more of this top, because there's kind of like a little dent here, and I need to glob on a bunch where I put this dent. It's got a big weird air pocket in it. I probably just gouged it too much. But here and the sides is what you want to pay attention to. Mix a little tiny bit up, hammer it in the spots you need, and keep going. So I let this sit overnight. Still gotta sand it, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. But I put a second coat on all the spots that had holes in it. Let's get to sanding. Okay, so I got this thing pretty much done. I don't know if you could tell, but there's little tiny nicks from sanding into it. That'll come out in paint. You don't have to get too crazy. As long as the big humps are covered, everything else will fill in with color. To get it really clean, I use this glass cleaner. Pretty sure if I hit it with acetone, it might eat up some of this stuff. I just kind of clean it. Oh yeah, I also kind of gave it a really light sand just to scratch it up. Give the primer something to adhere to. So I'm gonna take this thing outside and paint it. I got a little shitty paint zone. Paint it with this, put like 3 or 4 coats on it, let it sit for 5 hours, sand it, throw another coat on it, and you should be good. All right, this thing's all primed up, painted every like few minutes, put a light coat on it, paint it again, paint it again, paint it again, and I got like 2/3 of a can on there. So I'm gonna let it hang here for hours. 2 hours should be good, but I'll probably let it go a little longer. I'll sand all the imperfections and bugs and crap out of it, and I'll probably hit it with another 2 or 3 coats, pretty much just empty the can on it, and that'll be a lot of primer. Hopefully it'll fill in all these little goober spots I got on there. I'm just gonna try to bury those in paint. All right, this bad boy's cured. I got the 600 grit. What I do is I hit it with the water, give it a light sand. Get your towel. Wipe it off a little bit. Just keep going at it. Just sand it lightly. All right, I got this thing hanging. It's the next day after priming it, sanding it, and I'm just looking at all the fun things I need to do. But it's looking pretty good. It's got a lot of little dots that I can sand out. Yeah, we should be able to lay down some black today. Pretty sweet. All right, I just did the first coat of black. As you see, it's pretty shiny. I'm gonna wait 15 minutes. You basically are painting the black on and waiting for the solvent that's mixed with the paint to dissipate, I guess. You can still see a lot of primer underneath. I do little coats, like I said, just a bunch of little coats. Since this is like the base coat, I'm not gonna go too crazy. I'm just gonna do like 3 coats at the most until it looks covered, and then I'm still on the fence of what I'm really going to do to this tank, but I got an idea, so I might hit it again after I clear it and do other stuff. The other thing is don't start here and go press and then go, because that's going to be a drip. Always start out and go all the way across. Stop, go, stop, like that. Every time you stop in the middle of this, it's going to cause a drip. Also, you can tell these cheap cans, I shake the hell out of them. But look, it drips like crazy. So if you go fast, and just like that. Yeah, if you go slow, you're going to drip. If you go too fast, you're gonna have thin lines, but if you go really far back and missed it, you'll look nice and perfect like that. All right, plot twist. I had to paint it white. I did not think about my paint job very good. Pinstripes, I always have a hard time with. Hopefully this will work. I'm trying to do a white pinstripe, so I put white all over my tank. I sanded down that black, got it all pretty much like a primer. I just sanded the heck out of it. So I ghosted this white over it. 3 coats only, covered it really good. Next you'll see me pinstripe it. I'm gonna put a graphic on it, and I think I'm gonna do some sides. I got a little scheme I'm gonna try to do. I'm not here to tell you how to do your graphics. That's up to you. You're gonna have to figure that out. You're gonna have to screw it up a few times, but I'm gonna go do all that. This is gonna be over days. Now that you got this nice base, you can start your little art project. I'll get back to you once I get to the clear. So you bondoed, you primered, you fixed everything, you painted a base coat, a base color, and this is where I'm at now, where I'm just doing all the things I want to put on there, all my graphics and stuff. You can either keep it basic, keep it just black, and then put a clear coat on it and call it a day, or you can do a bunch of stuff like this. Right now I got some pinstriping, a little, whatever you want to call it, a little section of paint, a lot of clear on there. I tried to put a whole can of clear on. This stuff has a hardener in it. I put the cap in the bottom to break it, and it broke out the bottom. So I'm not even sure if that's how this has a hardener on it. I just sprayed it because it was working, which sucks because these things are like $30. So long story short, right now I'm gonna do a really light sand on there. Everybody loves a good old-fashioned water slide graphic. I got 2 of these. I'm gonna try to put this on here, and then later I'm gonna have somebody with an airbrush kind of fade this stuff in. So yeah, this is me doing the water slide graphic. So last time I got clear paper, thinking that's what I needed. So I ended up tossing it because clear on black, you couldn't see anything. So I gotta get the stuff with the white background. Water slide graphic. Clean this thing off. I got it clear coated, cut to shape.
That line kind of good.
All right, so once you did all your fancy paint work, you did all your cool guy stuff, you got it looking pretty tits, you put all your band-aids to the side, put your big boy britches on. Now it's time to spray clear. The more you bury it, the easier it is to buff and polish and sand stuff out. The more taping, over taping, and more textured stuff, you want more clear so you can sand it down, way down. This one doesn't have a whole lot of orange peel, and the tape is damn near gone, so I'm not gonna have to sand that much. I already cleared this one and let it sit for like a day and a half, so it's looking pretty cool. It's just got a lot of orange peel to it, which right now I would run it like this and nobody would be the wiser, but you can really bring it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand this with, I think I got 600. I'm gonna hit light 600 because that'll eat away a lot of it, and then after that I'm gonna hit it with 1,000, and that's what I'm gonna try to get all the orange peel out with 1,000. Then after that, I'll hit it one more time with 1,200. I'm looking at the stack I got. I might even skip up to 1,500. I think I got 2,000. And then I'm gonna hit it with the buffing machine, the drill, and I hit it with the compounds. Sand, get it like pristine, get all the, the funny little hairs that are stuck to it out. And then I just buff the hell out of it. And then after that, you're ready to put it on the bike. All right, so I clear coated it and I tried to sand it down. I thought I had way more clear on here, but 1 can is definitely not enough, which is pretty crazy. I've done tanks before with this and a fender, and it was definitely enough. So maybe I just painted on too thin. I probably should just hit it harder and just go for drips, I guess. But long story short, I had some hiccups. I ate through the clear and went to basically the paint or the sticker. So what I'm gonna do is I got this all scuffed up, clean it one more time. See, I even got one more little dirty spots. But I'm gonna hit those, clean them up, put my gloves on, hit it with the glass cleaner, spray one more full can of clear, which you can now get these 2K cans at O'Reilly's, which is pretty crazy. All right, day 55. So I got this thing sanded pretty good after the clear's cured. I got it sanded with 1,000 grit. I usually use 600 and it just chews at it pretty good. So I've been hitting with 1,000 just so I don't go too far. But you can tell this is where I haven't sanded, where it's all black. And this is where I sanded, where it's not so clear looking. This is what I'm trying to sand out, are these little circles. I'm trying to make this all uniform. I mean, to the touch, it's really smooth. But then you get down here and it's really rough. So I might try to hit this as much as I can. Yeah, I'm more concerned about that thing on the very top, which sucks. It's like a pretty big hole. And if I keep sanding at it, it's just gonna look terrible. So I might clear it again, and that clear I won't have to scuff so much. So I'm gonna keep chipping away at this. Another 45 minutes, I should be done. All right, so I've got these tiny little holes. They're harder to see because you keep using the wet towel. So it's kind of nice to have dry stuff. But I get it all wet. Give it a light sand. Doesn't take much. Clean it off. All right, here it is, 2,000 grit. It's pretty cloudy. You can't tell because all the light beaming off of it. Maybe I can not drop it. Yeah, there it is. I mean, you could run it, but you could tell it's a little chalky looking. I used to have another one that worked with a drill, but I couldn't find one at Harbor Freight. Another one broke. It was a piece like this that went to my drill, and it would stick to these pads. But of course it broke, so I bought this one because it's only like $5. But what I use is the heavy cut cleaner with the pad, and I go in circles, and then after that I hit it with another pad. I think this one, I might be backwards, and then I hit it with the cleaner and the wax. That protects it, brings out the shine, all that stuff. Once you put this on and bury it in the clear, it's going to be still a little bit cloudy. It might even look like this. So I'll finish it off with this clean, whatever the heck, this little pad, and it'll be really good looking after that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. All right, so that's after the heavy cut and cleaner. It doesn't really make it look that good. And it looks like there's a lot of swirls left from the sponge. But yeah, you just get yourself a microfiber cloth, try to clean it off and see what damage has been done. This one doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of scuffing going on, but I'm hoping that the next one will take that out. So let's get to the next pad. Let's use this one with the cleaner and the wax, and that'll really bring it out. And then we'll hit it with this. All right, these mini pad set you get at Harbor Freight, I'll tell you right now, they suck. I can see all kinds of scratches. It's not because I pushed too hard or anything. It's because the pads are cheap. So what I think I'm gonna have to do is go get a couple of nice pads and finish it off another time. But that's it. All right, so you got your tank cleared, sanded, cut, buffed, all that stuff. It's all done. It's looking perfect. The last thing I like to do is get the cap off. You could wrench it off. You could probably crack your paint, create a little air pocket in there, and then gaskets in there, and next thing you know, you got your paint all lifted to hell. Same thing for your gas inlet down here. So what I do is I get this handy dandy razor blade and I just kind of go in there and clean it up. But I don't get too crazy. Don't worry about it. Your gas cap's gonna cover it anyways. Just a light cut through here. Okay, moment of truth. There it is, cap's off. You're gonna have pretty rough edge here. So what I like to do is hit it with the finest sandpaper you got and just stuff something in here. Paper towel, get one of those blue shop rags, cut it in half, stuff it in here, and just sand a little bit. Make a little seal on it. That way you don't have all these weird edges. Because right now, that razor blade just kind of chunks through it. It didn't make a very even cut. If you got an even cut and everything looks hunky-dory and it's pretty much perfect, don't do anything I'm talking about. Because the more you screw with this, the seal is gonna fail. So to double down on this seal and this one back here, I hit it with this. Your girlfriend's clear nail polish. And get the good stuff, don't get the dollar store stuff. Pay the $8 or whatever it is. I just brush it on along the edge. It ain't gotta be pretty. Let it dry for whatever the recommendation is for this stuff, and just do it a couple times. Let it cure. That'll keep your paint job from leaking gas in there. And don't forget back here on the petcock side. All right, painted tank. You stuck around for that one, you should be able to do it. I tried to give you as many tips and tricks as I could. Obviously this tank isn't perfect. I'm not a painter, not even that good of an artist. I still gotta fix this one up a little bit. You're never gonna be happy with them. But if you stuck around this long, now you got it. You got the basics of it. Go wild, go do a basic tank. Don't do what I did, don't do a bunch of pinstriping. Just put a sticker on each side and clear coat the hell out of it. It'll look awesome. Like, subscribe, comment, ask questions in the bottom. You can always hit me up on Instagram. I'll send you any information that I know. Otherwise, that's it. Tanks for Dummies. Thanks for watching.